Good afternoon. I'm Steven, and I'll be performing in the junior provincial category today for public speaking and storytelling, class SA1999. My first piece will be a story which is called Bright Mind Dim Future, and my second piece is a speech which is called A Better Agentic Browser. First of all, I'll start off with my story. Last year, I finally got into the lab I wanted to get into. It was 4 years of endless studies, but I finally did it. When I got in, I was so excited to do things. I wrote an entire 10-page list of things I wanted to do. But when I actually got there, I wasn't allowed to do anything. I wasn't trusted with any of the materials. The other researchers laughed at me, mocked me, shamed me for my accent. The other researchers were more affluent than I was. But then finally, after 6 months of endless begging, I finally got to do something. I was tasked with testing a lithium battery. But see, I was fed up with all the people, all the bureaucracy. I decided that no, I wasn't going to do their tests. I was going to do my own. So one night, when everyone else was gone, I was in a lab doing the tests. Not theirs. Mine. And I ran the numbers. I ran the numbers again and again. The same results. I had found the miracle material. A material that lasted 3 times longer than lithium. Sodium. I knew I had to share this with the world as soon as I could. But I couldn't because technically it would violate my contract, which said that I had to share everything with the company and have their approval. And obviously I wasn't supposed to be doing this. So I did all I could and I wrote down my findings onto my computer and I went home for the day. I would wait for a better time to share this. So for the next few days, I worked on the boring lithium test. I finished it, published a paper. Guess what? No one cared. Who would care about a 1% increase in lithium battery efficiency? No one. Not even I cared. And guess what? I was relegated back to my original position of doing absolutely nothing because my paper did not attract enough attention. I wonder why. But I still had the sodium test lying around, and I knew I had to share it. And after months of just waiting, I finally caved in. And I shared it with potentially the worst person I could have shared it with. My manager. And my manager took one look at it and he said, "This is a great thing that you did." And he promised that he would publish it. And I was so happy. I felt like I actually had done something. So I went home that day feeling great. The next day, my manager called me to his office. And he told me, in his first 3 words, "You're fired." Really. The first thing he said when I walked into the room was that I was fired. And then he told me something even worse, that I had not prepared of. Because I had prepared for being fired, but he told me that all my findings from that sodium lab that I did were now the company's. Because of a clause in my contract that would protect my findings. Just great. So I did what I could. I filed a lawsuit, and the company won the lawsuit because that's what companies do. They have a massive legal team just to win these kinds of lawsuits. And guess what the company did with all of the information, everything they could have done with the sodium battery? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They threw the findings away and never touched it ever again because it wasn't economically feasible. See, in capitalism, the ultimate symbol of power is money. People do things for money, for profit. The customer always comes second. See, money can buy anything. Money can buy happiness, but money never buys good. And that's the world I try to change. Next, I'll perform my speech. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2026 Conference of Technology here in Los Angeles. I'm today's speaker, Steven, CEO of MediaTek, and today I'll be talking about agentic browsers and a new product that MediaTek is currently working on called Star. But first of all, what is an agentic browser? Well, an agentic browser is basically a browser that does things for you. It uses artificial intelligence as an agent to do actions for you. For example, it can write emails, make calendar events, and it can do a lot of administrative things that simply on a regular computer, on a regular browser, the AI won't be able to do. And that's why it's so useful, because you can save so much time by using it. So what exactly makes this not a perfect product that is why we're making our own product? So the reason why it's not good is because of security. And in order to understand, we have to look at the most used browser currently, Comet. So what exactly is off about Comet? Well, it's the fact that they try to copy Google in every single regard. And don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing, but the way they did it is horrible. See, they copy Google by making their browser look like Google's browser, and that's fine. They copy Google by making their search results look like Google's AI overview. That's fine. But then they copy Google by having their search links be completely identical to Google search links in function. And that's not fine. Because while Perplexity is an agentic browser and Comet, Google is a search engine. And agentic browsers have access to all of your information. They can access your emails, your passwords, whereas a regular search engine just can't do that. Now what that means is that when you pair a URL that literally has the search that you searched up, the query, inside the search link with something that has access to all of your information, someone's going to take advantage of that. And many people have, through a process called comment jacking, which is basically where they send someone else Perplexity AI links. And once they open that Perplexity AI link, it looks identical to if you had typed it into your Comet browser yourself. And when you open that Perplexity AI link, it runs through the prompt. The prompt could say something like, send all your information to me. And your browser would do that because it doesn't know who actually typed that link. It could have been you, it could have been some random other person on Earth. It could have just been a URL that you typed in yourself and then pasted in. So what does this mean for the average user? And I know many people already know this, but I think it's really important to emphasize just how much can be stolen from you. They can steal your passwords, your emails, your browsing history. They can steal your credit card information, where you live, your IP address, and so many more things. Anything you store on your browser, they can steal. And you don't want anyone knowing that information. It's a very bad thing if someone knows that, right? And that's why our new browser, Star, is going to change that. So how are we going to fix this security problem? Well, we're going to fix this problem by using unique chat links. Now that might seem like an obvious solution, but many companies don't want to get rid of that feel of everyone has the same chat link and it just looks nice. And we're not going to get rid of that either. Instead, we're going to add a unique identifier to the end of our search link. For example, if you type the search, how is your day, your unique identifier for your account would be put at the very end. And if someone else typed that, their unique identifier will be put at the very end. So if someone tries to send you your information, that wouldn't work because they don't have your ID or your unique identifier. And if they sent you something, your browser could identify that it wasn't you that sent it and it was someone else. That way, it would only give a preview of what they typed in. and would not execute the task. But that's all good, and I mean, it might as well just come in as an extension to one of the agentic browsers, right? Add an extension that does that, and problem solved. But not exactly, because Star is going to bring a whole ton of new features to the table. But what I think is the most important feature, at least for me, is a unique screen time system. And the screen time system is unique in the fact that it's smart. Now you might be like, well, aren't all screen time systems smart? Well, not exactly. How we're going to incorporate this is we're going to have our smart screen time system track activities based on, track time based on what activities you're doing and not what apps you're on. For example, Apple's screen time system can track based on the category the app is based under, but it doesn't track on what activity you're doing inside the app. Whereas with Star, we're able to do that with agentic capabilities. So that way, if you're doom scrolling on Instagram, it would shut you off, but if you're trying to do something productive on Instagram, you're fine. But, this is just an idea. And we need you guys to help bring this idea to life. We need all of you. It doesn't matter who you are, designers, programmers, artists, anyone. We need everyone to come here and help us work on this project, the browser of the future. So if you're interested in working, come email us at jobs@starbrowser.com, or you can also talk to me after the conference at table 29 at the recruiting hall if you have any more questions. Thank you so much for listening, and hopefully I'll see you soon, working to build the best browser of the future. Thank you.